didn't have to knock me out, but I'm still holding the throne. You never know till it's over. So pretty it hurts. Just beware of the thorns.
Hello everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed their weekend. Ate good. And I had a good time. I'm sorry about the live. I thought more people were notified about it than there were. I'll try to make sure that I get more notifications and posts out next time for the next live. I'm thinking about doing them on the weekends, like Saturday or something. Have the regular weekend videos during the week. But somebody asked me about the different types of prisons, and I can only speak for Missouri, of course, but that's what I'm going to talk about. So if you're new and you like prison content, subscribe, hit that notification, and comment. I want to hear from you guys, and let's get into this. So most of my time was spent in maximum security prisons, and each one is different in some ways. Like the walls was completely different than any of them in so many ways. I mean, there was there was blind spots. There's no cameras. It was all bars for the cells. You know, the front of the cells was all bars. So it was loud, you know. It was probably the most violent one I was in. And they had hobbycraft back then, but they don't hardly do that no more, except for little things. But these modern prisons, maximum security prisons, they're some of them are violent too, and I'm going to talk about a few of them. And one of them I haven't been in, but I heard enough about it that I think I can talk about it a little bit. But the mentality of the guards and prisoners are different than high level than low levels. I mean, it's completely different. And I'll get into that later, here in a little bit. But you know, when you're in a maximum security prison, you're always well, in any prison you're always on your guard, and you're always aware of what's going on around you and everything. But there's like more of a pressure, and there's more of a vigilance. You know, you can't let down your guard. And sometimes I never tried to go to the hole, but even though I went to the hole a lot, I never made it a point to go to the hole on purpose. And some people did. But when I did go to the hole, there was like a peace of mind for a little bit, you know. It was, you know, people talk about, that's never been to prison, talk about the whole time being bad and stuff. And I guess long periods it could be, but and I know it's messed a lot of people up, you know, mentally. But that's the thing, you gotta be mentally strong, even if you're in GP, you know, general population. But it was just like I could relax just a little bit. I mean, most of the times in the hole I had cellies, so you still had to kind of, if you didn't know, especially if you didn't know your cell, you had to still kind of be, you know, on the lookout. But you could relax a little bit. You're away from all that stuff that's going on in the yard, you know. And you really don't have to worry too much about all the rules you might break, because there's a lot less of them in the hole. But I want to talk about different prisons. Like Potosi is maximum security. It held 800 people. It still does. And it's where they hold people that's scheduled for execution. But when they get ready to execute them, they take them to Bonterre. And it's a punishment prison. I mean, that's where you go when you get in trouble. That's high risk prisoners there. Um, when I was there, I remember one of my cellies was scheduled for execution, and I got talking to him. I said, what's keep you from waking up one morning and thinking, well, they're going to execute me. I might as well take out as many as I can, and I'm the first one you see. He said, you guys with life are more apt to get in altercations than us with death penalty. And he was right about that. So each prison is different. Not Bonterra, Charleston. It's down near the Boot Hill. It kind of the opposite of South Central Correctional Center in Licking, Missouri. If you're a white person and you go down to Charleston, you better be willing to handle your business, because it's mostly black down there, and I mean, I'm just being honest. White people down there you're gonna have to fight, or you're in trouble. And I talked to a few people that was from down there, and they said, yeah, it was the opposite of South Central Correctional Center. Now, South Central Correctional Center, especially when it first became a 5, went from a 3 and 4 to a 5, it was mostly white. It was just, I couldn't believe how many white people were in there. But it was, I'll tell you that when I first got there, this place is about 25 miles from where I grew up, and I was going to medical one night, and like at 9 o'clock, and all these guards, we just got there. It was like my first night there, and it's just changing over to a level 5. And so down there near medical, on the walk, there's a bunch of guards standing. You got to turn and head down to walk into medical. As I approached, there's this big, heavy-set CO, and I hear him tell the other COs, I ain't worried about these level 5s. They're just another inmate to me. And I stopped, and I looked at him, and I said, you know what you were before you got this job as a correctional officer? You was a farmer out here, working on your dad's farm. One of the other COs started kind of laughing, and this guy gets mad. He says, you better keep it stepping. And he says, you guys at level 5, you think you're bad or whatever. And I said, I don't think I'm bad. But I said, you run your mouth like that, one of these level 5s is they're gonna teach you a lesson. It ain't gonna be me. Excuse me. So another guard comes over and says, sir, keep going, And so I went on. That guy was mad. And it wasn't a month. I didn't see that guy no more. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he quit. I don't know if he got transferred. I don't know what happened to him, but I didn't see him no more. But see, it was level 3s and 4s, and they're used to talking to them people like any way they could. And I was trying to let that guy know, you ain't going to do that to these level 5s. But licking at first was, I'm going to say, kind of racist. It may not be so much anymore, but I remember I had this cellie, and he tried to order some rap music. He's a white dude. He was into rap. He tried to order some rap music, and everybody was ordering rap. They was saying they wouldn't allow an end, saying because of the content and all this and that. And really, the rule only said that as long as there was no guns or explicit language or whatever on the cover, they could have it. Well, they wasn't allowing them anyway. So they had to file on this, file grievance, and they eventually won. But I remember Marcelli, he was upset about this, and he turned to me and he goes, I bet you if you ordered Hank Williams Jr. Album with him holding a shotgun on the cover, they would let it in. And he didn't laugh about this. He was mad. But I started laughing because you know what? He was probably right. I'm just being honest. He was probably right. And but you go to I don't know what the threes are like. I've always been in level 5s and 4s, so I can't tell you what 2 and 3 camp is like. They're medium. When I got my level drop, when I got a date and I got my level drop, they sent me to Algo, which is level 1. And not only are the cells, and because it's really more, you have several people in the room, but it was just the attitude. Now there was people down there that knew how to do time, but there was some that there was a lot that didn't really. They figured they're going home soon. I guess this is what they're thinking. They figure they're going home soon, and they don't care, And I think I told in another video how I got there about the same time as this black guy that I knew. And this guy had been down a long time, and he was telling me, he says, man, he said, I don't like this place. They should have left me back where I came from. I said, I agree. He goes, I ain't gonna be able to make it, man. He says, I'm gonna end up hurting somebody. And he did. He hospitalized an inmate and at least one other guard, but he beat up 2 guards. But I know one of them had to go to the hospital, and it's all because the prisoner was this other guy was disrespecting him, or he felt like he was disrespecting him, and so he beat him up. This other guard tried to stop it. He beat him up, warned another guard not to come up there, and the guy did, and hit him a few times. But I told these people, you guys don't know, some people come from these higher level camps, they still got that mentality. They ain't going to put up with this, It was all I could do to put up with it. And even when I got out, and I was in the store line, I thought somebody cut me off. My first thought was they trying to punk me out, and I said that to him, and he did not know what I was talking about, So that's the mentality of the people in the higher levels. It's different than the ones in the lower levels, And I got a funny story. I think I might have told this one before, but I'm not sure. Like I said, there were some good people down in Algoa. But there was I had this Walkman on, and you guys are going to laugh about this. This was 2016, and I had a cassette Walkman on. And this guy, most people around there had these little clear, little radio-looking things, and some of them had CD players, clear CD players. Mine was solid black Walkman. And so this young guy comes up to me. He goes, "Man, is that a Walkman? A cassette Walkman?" And I said, "Yes, it is." He goes, "Can I see it?" And I said, "Yeah." He looked at it and he goes, "Man," he goes, "I only want to look at one because I've never seen one before." And he goes, he goes, "I want to tell you something." He said, "These things are obsolete." And he said, "You're not going, when you get out, you're not going to be able to find cassettes." He said, "CD players are almost obsolete." He said, "Everybody just downloads music on the phone." And he said, you might as well sell this thing, you know. He said, "But man," he said, "I never seen one before." He goes, "I ain't wanted to buy it." He said, "I just wanted to see one because I've never seen one before." He said, "I also never seen a device in prison that wasn't clear." You know, I said, "Well, back in the day," I said, "You know, I got locked up in, I got to prison in '88, got locked up in '87." I said, "But back then everything was solid." And I said, "We had these big old TVs, you know, and turn knobs and the big square things, KTVs, you know." And I said, "Everything, your stereos and everything, back then we could buy stereos too." And I said, "Everything, none of it was see-through, you know, none of it was clear." He goes, "You got locked up in '87? I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Dude, do you know they didn't have the internet back then?" I said, "Of course I know they didn't have the internet back then. I was alive back then." And he goes, "I just can't imagine that." He says, "I really can't." He said, "It's hard for me being here in prison and imagine." He said, "It's hard for me to be without the internet." He said, I was always on the internet, man, you know, on my phone and stuff, you know." He said, "So this is even kind of hard for me." But he said, "You was born when they didn't have it." I said, "No, not really." I said, "I think the internet came out as a government thing before then." But I said, "It wasn't for public use for, I guess, in the '90s. He said, "Man, that is crazy." And he said, "So did they have CDs when you got arrested?" And I said, "Yeah, but they was just kind of like just starting to come out, you know." And so this young kid was just he was just fascinated by all these stories, you know. And he goes, I said, "Well, you know your like your parents and your grandparents and stuff and older relatives, you know they was alive when there wasn't internet too, don't you?" And he said, "Yeah, but," he said, "You went to prison when there wasn't any internet, and now you're getting out and they have internet." He goes, "That's probably going to be a big change for you." And he goes, "And just think of this. You went to prison in one century and got out another." I'd never thought of that before. And but he was right, you know. But the mentality of these guys in lower level prisons, they like to play a lot, you know. And there was these different groups down there. K2 was big in the lower level. After I seen what it was doing to people, I did not want to try any of that K2. I mean, I seen people having seizures. I seen people doing crazy things. I didn't want any part of it. But the thing about the lower levels is I don't remember seeing anybody getting poked, you know, or anything. But there was fights. Fights do happen in the lower levels. Now, fights happen in the maximum security prisons too. But you're more apt to get stabbed in the higher levels. because you have people there without life, and I mean life without, and even those with life with the possibility. Sometimes they don't care, and then you have those that just the time has gotten to them, and their minds messed up, so they could just attack you for no reason. You just don't know. They may think in their mind thinking you're out to get them, and they want to get the first. They want to get you first. And then I seen people that, because a lot of the maximum security prisons ain't got PCs. In fact, just like a few years before I got out, South Central made part of the whole PC. But many of them didn't have PC, so it's not like anybody could go up to staff and say, hey, I think I need PC. You could, and then you had to give a name, you had to say you're in fear of your life, all this stuff, and they put you in a hole and transfer you or something. But you had some people that would just, and I think this might have even happened once or twice in Algoa when I was there. I'm not sure, but I think it did. You have people just go up and just hit somebody right near the guards. They'll make sure there's guards nearby, and they call it a check-in move. He ain't really got a problem with this guy. He's just wanting to go to the hole, get off the yard because he owes somebody or somebody's after him on the yard or something, And that's what that's all about. But the people in the high levels, it's hard to explain, but there's a certain level of respect. If they know you and they know, that you're a solid person, they'll respect you, As long as you show respect, they'll show respect. But the ones in the lower levels, they're just in there for a couple of years, a year or so. They don't care. There's not that level of respect. Now, like I said, I told you there are some that are good people in the lower levels, and they know how to do time and everything. I don't know if it's because they've been to higher levels or if they just know, But some of them know how to do time. I remember when I was at the walls, and I'm pretty sure this was on purpose. They brought I think I even mentioned this in a video. They brought a bunch of people from Boonville to the walls, and the reason why is because they's fighting and stuff in Boonville. There used to be a lot of fighting going on in Boonville, and these young kids. And there were several old people, old heads, old school people. They said, we ain't gonna fight these youngsters. We're too old for that. Ain't got time for it. And it's almost like it was a concerted effort. And one day they started poking these guys from Boonville. They ended up taking them, the ones who weren't killed or sent to hospitals, they sent them back to Boonville. I'm sure the ones that were sent to hospitals were sent back to Boonville or somewhere. But they got them out of there. But I've always thought that was done on purpose. And maybe it didn't, maybe it went worse than they thought it was going to go. But I always thought that was that the DOC did that on purpose. Anyway, I've been rambling on too much about all this. I'll catch you all next time. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment, and see you next time. Bye.